Okay, so we have heard every brand claim that they have the best smartphone camera. And then you know what happens. The winner is
iPhone.
Heck, here's the conclusion of our previous best smartphone camera video. But if you just have to take a phone camera, point at something and take a photo or video, I still feel iPhone is the better of the three. But this time, I promise, this time it's different. Here is the photo from Vivo, Samsung and iPhone. It just kills the other two smartphones in terms of sharpness. And if you think it's just photos, well, here's the video from Vivo, Samsung and iPhone. It's both color accurate, sharp and well exposed. There's the reason we gave the Vivo X200 Pro the best smartphone camera of this year. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Video done. Bye-bye. Well, things are changing in 2025. Do we have like Vivo beating iPhone and Samsung? Moreover, should you spend almost 1 lakh rupees on a Vivo flagship? Well, this is the first video of 2025. We'll answer all of that. It's a banger. Let's go. So let's start with the category of photos that we take the most. Selfies. Out of the three in selfie camera specs, the X200 Pro has the spec-heavy 32 megapixel selfie camera. Starting it off with this sample, the selfie was clicked in the evening light. Now on the S24 Ultra and iPhone 16 Pro Max, the photos are sharp if you zoom in, and there is a trend to this. We'll get to that. But both of them have blown out the background. Samsung has even made my skin whitish. On the other hand, in Vivo, it has a skin tone very closer to natural. It also has pretty good light control. The lights in the background are properly exposed. Plus, if you zoom in little on my face, the X200 Pro has better details compared to the other two. So that 32 megapixel natural sharpness is showing up. I mean, size does matter. Oh, sorry. Specs. What was I thinking? Now, we took multiple selfies. The trend is iPhone and Samsung both have 12 megapixel selfie camera. So most of the time, these phones try to over sharpen the selfies while processing it. Happens multiple times. Whereas Vivo leaves it as it is, naturally sharp. The only place where it kind of fails is extreme low light situation. Like here, color wise, all of them have done a good job. If you zoom in Vivo, the photo is soft. But more than that, it has left these lines or artifacts on my face. Now, we have seen it happen rarely sometimes in extremely low light selfies. So in terms of videos, all of them can do 4K 60 FPS and they do some sort of noise cancellation. Like with Vivo, once you have started recording the video, you can just tap over here and enable vocal enhancement. So it doesn't remove the noise from the video, but your audio will get slightly better. In terms of Samsung, it does some sort of noise cancellation by default. While on the iPhone, actually, after you have recorded the video, you can go to edit, audio mix, and then you can switch between in-studio and cinematic audio mode. And it makes a whole lot of difference. Like this is the audio before noise cancellation and this is after noise cancellation, and this thing is a lifesaver. So just for that feature, I think half a point to iPhone, and just for better selfies and videos, 1 full point for Vivo. By the way, you guys asked for it. So in such comparisons, we are giving 1 full point and half point to the second runner-up. So you know who's first and who's second. Also, these are the smartphone camera specs. Pause. Read it, because we'll be comparing these phones on these 6 parameters rather than just specs, because specs are one story and real life practical test is the complete story. Moving on to the ultra wide angle camera, and I feel this is the most ignored sensor on a smartphone, just like the second child of the family. There, I said it. Personally, I use ultra wide angle quite a lot to shoot videos, to have human eye perspective, or just self-record myself. Now, right off the bat, Vivo seems to have the most balanced color, which is surprising. Like Samsung is more towards bluish tones, whereas the iPhone is slightly more warmer. And there's a pattern to this. Even indoors, if you see, Vivo's photo looks natural. The S24 Ultra, again, more towards bluish, whereas the iPhone here looks a bit warmer. Now, this would be a bit crazy though, like insane, but let's do this. Let's zoom on to this photo. The iPhone and Vivo here has better details because both of them have a higher resolution 50 and 48 megapixel sensor respectively. So Vivo gets that 1 full point for color and sharpness. iPhone gets that half a point for at least being sharp. Now, the same ultra wide angle camera can be used for macro photos and videos. Now, I didn't find any major difference in the macro photos, like they were equally sharp. Now, Vivo could not get as close to the subject as the other two phones, but there's a reason to it, we'll get to that. However, the major trick here is super macro. Vivo can use the periscope lens as macro camera, so you can basically zoom into a macro photo 3.7x, 10x, even 20x. Like, it's so good, I can point it to this monitor and see I can zoom in and see the RGB LEDs behind. The super macro photos on Vivo are out of this league. The macro is a very easy point for Vivo. Now, speaking about the telephoto camera, Vivo's 200 megapixel sensor is super hyped. But here, I was expecting S24 Ultra to make a comeback. Like, come on, long range zoom is Samsung territory for years. Now, all three phones have a dedicated periscope camera. In fact, Samsung has a 3x telephoto as well as a 5x periscope camera. Now, mostly a telephoto camera is used to click portrait photos. All the three phones let you click portrait photos at 1x, 2x, 3.7x in case of Vivo. And this portrait photo we took at 3x. Right off the bat, if you see here, the portrait cutout in Vivo is so good. Like, I wasn't expecting this. It did it better than Samsung and iPhone. And it happens every single time. Like, it was the most accurate portrait cutout when it came to hairs. Now, one of the few problems that I feel not enough people talk about with the iPhone, it mostly makes the Indian skin tone look yellowish or darker. Like, it is better than last year, but that problem is still there. Like in this photo, Shobik's case, he's not that yellow. Same in this photo of me, I'm not that yellow. It looks like I'm suffering from jaundice sometimes. Now, as soon as we moved into low light conditions, there was a pattern with these portrait photos. iPhone and Samsung had noise, whereas the Vivo was quite better when it comes to noise. If you zoom in into this face, I believe they're using some sort of AI to rebuild the face, or the sensor is just bigger and better. So in the portrait round, Vivo scores the point. I would give half a point to Samsung for more versatility in 1x, 2x, 3x, 5x portraits. So there's the score. Now, with the same telephoto, Vivo and Samsung can do 100x zoom. So this is clicked in 1x and now this is clicked in 60x. Here the conclusion is pretty easy. Anything that you click beyond 15 to 20x, the iPhone is just plain bad. On Samsung it's sharper but the colors get off, whereas on Vivo the colors are retained and it's as sharp as Samsung. So even in this next sample, this is the photo clicked in 1x. On the iPhone, this is 25x, whereas on the Samsung and Vivo, it is clicked on 100x. As you can see, the iPhone photo is unusable. And this super res high zoom comes really handy in wedding or concerts if you can get that Diljit ticket or if your friend gets married. So Vivo by that sheer 200 megapixel sensor gets that 1 full point and Samsung gets half a point because it can zoom at 100x and the output is usable. iPhone 0, like it's 2025 and iPhones just suck at zoom photos. Next up, we have the camera that we use a lot, the main camera, like the final D. And here things get a bit complicated. See, when you are in proper well-lit condition, all three phones take very good photos. At times I felt iPhone was accurate, at times Samsung was more accurate. But consistently, Vivo had that contrasty look. It tries to make every image slightly contrasty, like there is detail in the image, like much more detail than Samsung, but where both iPhone and Samsung image look bright, Vivo looks slightly dull. Even in this Shobik image, see, colors are on point, in fact better than iPhone, but the image on Samsung and iPhone look brighter. At times, Vivo is much more color accurate, like way color accurate than Samsung, but I always felt that contrastiness makes the image appear darker. And this could be totally personal preference, but I feel people like brighter images. And this brightness difference gets much more noticeable when it comes to extreme low light photos, like this one, or this photo of the team. Like Gaurav is totally dark. And mind you, all of this darkness changes when I take photo in night mode. Vivo appears better and brighter. I believe this is something that can be fixed via software update, but as of now, I believe the point goes to iPhone and half a point to Samsung. Now, another thing to note here is this contrast problem can somewhat be solved if you switch the color mode to natural mode. I kept it at textured mode, which was there by default. Now there is also a vivid mode. And somewhat this is what I felt is the thing with Vivo. There's too much options in the camera app. Then there's stage mode, bunch of filters in portrait mode, snapshot mode, yada yada yada. See, credit where due, Vivo makes it slightly easier. When you point at a subject, it recommends you to quickly switch to that particular mode. But at times, it's too much to remember. I think Vivo should try and somehow consolidate or use AI to automatically switch modes, but I can't remember 20 different modes for 20 different situations. And at last, we have videos, because as a content creator, this is my favorite part. And even if you guys make short form content or shoot any video, it's your favorite part. So in this video, iPhone clearly has the best video, followed by Vivo. Samsung's video looks very dark here. In low light situations as well, if you see, iPhone clearly nails it. There's almost no noise. Samsung is also doing a good job, but Vivo not so much. And one personal example that we noticed while shooting our shots, Samsung and iPhone does that sharpening which makes the overall video look sharp. But Vivo has that softness in videos like my t-shirt, even the face, which makes it hard to zoom in or work with the footage in video editing. But again, this problem can be solved. You can go to Pro mode, shoot in log, color grade later on. But again, the point, too much options. So even for video, I'll give 1 point to both Samsung and iPhone. And just to end this, I believe AI is something which is becoming a crucial part of camera. We personally use the instant slow-mo or AI eraser from Samsung to save a lot of time or be more creative in videos. Samsung started this war, and I believe the entire year other smartphone companies just played catch up. So for that, I would give half a point to Samsung. I believe as a content creator, that's much more useful to me rather than general public, and both Vivo and Apple also have extra features, so half a point to Samsung. Now, before we move to the conclusion, shout out to the S24 Ultra. It came almost 1 year back in January 2024, and it is still competing with the newly launched iPhone and Vivo phone, and it still holds its own ground. In fact, we still shoot all our shots on the Samsung S24 Ultra. So the point here is, these flagships are so good at cameras, like any of them that you buy, you will more or less be happy with it. Now, before we get to the final scores, see, here's what's happening. Listen carefully. On one side, there are traditional brands like Apple, Samsung, Google, and on the other side there are Chinese brands like Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, OnePlus, and all of them. Now earlier, if you want to make a good camera smartphone and there were 100 points, 50 of them would go to hardware and 50 of them would go to good camera software processing, and that was the recipe which worked for years and years. And with the Chinese brand, here's what's happening. They're giving 80 points to the camera hardware, which is for sure better than Apple and Samsung, and for the rest 20 points which has to go to software, they are collaborating with traditional camera brands. Like for Vivo, it's Zeiss. For Xiaomi, it's Leica. For Oppo, OnePlus, it's Hasselblad. So this smartphone camera is as good as Apple and Samsung, or sometimes even better. So here's the bottom line. If you want to take good photos, enjoy using your smartphone camera and take out all your creativity, I think Vivo X200 Pro is a good option. But if you want something reliable, better videos, I think anything between Ultra and 16 Pro Max will do better. You will not regret. And as of now, this is the smartphone king. Up until S25 Ultra comes out, AI is the only thing which maybe gives an edge to Samsung, so we'll wait for that. On that note, this is signing off. See you in the next video. Pew, pew, pew. Ideally, we would have made the video after S25 Ultra launched, but you guys were asking for it. And views.